Hi, presenting today. So I'm smoking nice big ass cigars and a big ass cigar for life. So as in a big ass cigar for life, I'm also drinking some water right now. I want to talk about right now something very important. So buckle up, my friends. It's going to be a very rough ride. So very important topic, not tobacco related. Actually, I'm going to talk about pot. Now, marijuana. Yes, weed, grass, whatever you want to call it. So I want to talk about marijuana right now in the legalization of it. So obviously, my disclaimer right off the bat is this is not to encourage people to smoke pot in any way, shape, or form because it's still illegal on federal level. This is not to say marijuana is cool by any means because it's really not. So this is just my honest opinions about do I think marijuana should be legalized. So pretty long video just to give you guys a heads up. So I want to basically talk about right now my opinions on marijuana legalization in 2016, Massachusetts. And again, disclaimer, this is not to encourage people to smoke pot by any means. I don't encourage it by any means because it is a legal drug still. So, because marijuana is still illegal on a federal level. So, but I want to give my opinion on marijuana legalization. So basically, I want to talk about right now my opinion. Now, I can see both sides. Well, disclaimer off the bat, Massachusetts is considering legalization of marijuana. So that is question 4. So question 4 is, question 4 in Massachusetts is basically legalization of marijuana for recreational use. Basically what it would do, let me just stand back, I'm just leaning back in my car because it's kind of cold outside. So it would basically legalize personal possession of marijuana for people who are 21 and older, same as alcohol. So, and I'm obviously a paralegal, so I went to paralegal school, so at Mass Bay Community College, and I can see both sides to the story. So, excuse me. So basically, I can see both arguments. So basically in Massachusetts, the police are really against it. So the police are really, really against the legalization of marijuana, while the people are really, really for the legalization of marijuana. So in Massachusetts, probably, I'd say well over 50% of people support legalization of marijuana, except the police. And I voted, I think it was a couple days ago, and I voted to legalize marijuana. So I'm for it. I have nothing against it. I wouldn't smoke it personally. I mean, I have nothing against marijuana legalization. I'm also wearing a cool Patriots jacket, so kind of cold outside. Yeah, it's November, so I have nothing against marijuana. I have nothing against it. So I have nothing against it. I would never smoke it myself. So I have nothing against it. I've never tried it myself. I never would, but I have nothing against it. I mean, I think it should be legal. So, but I can see both sides of the story. So let me talk about this a little bit. So the reason I'm going to start with the pro and con. So pro is basically for legalization of marijuana, and con is against legalization of marijuana. So basically, the pro for marijuana is it would bring in taxes. It would bring in a lot of taxes. It would make it safer for people to use, so people wouldn't be able to lace it with like PCP, acid, coke, all that shit. So it would make it safer for people to use. Also, it would just make it better to use because it would be safer and it would be easier to access. And you could tax that kind of stuff. You could tax the shit out of it, like the big ass cigar. So yeah. It's like you could tax the shit out of it. It's like you could do whatever you want with it. It's like that's a big argument to make it legal. Is because it would be safer for people to use, and people really for people who are 21 and older, it's a personal choice. I'm very for personal choices myself. I'm somebody who really believes somebody has the right to make their own choice. Same thing is like whatever. I mean, if somebody wants to be if somebody wants to be 500 pounds, that's their choice. If somebody wants to eat a ton of cheeseburgers, that's their choice. It's obviously unhealthy. It's the same thing as smoking those nice big-ass cigars. Cigars are unhealthy. They can cause oral cancer, they can cause head and neck cancer, they can cause lung cancer, whatever. It's a personal choice. I'm over 18, I'm over 21, I'm 25 and a half, and I have the choice to smoke a nice big-ass cigar. So, I have the right to smoke a big-ass cigar because I'm over 21, I'm over 18, and we can disagree. You can agree to disagree. I know people say I'm lying, whatever, bullshit, whatever. It's like, I know people say I'm lying. It's kind of like, at a certain point, it's like, yeah, people have a right to disagree or agree with me. I am 25 and a half for the last time, so I'm aware smoking cigars is unhealthy. It can cause oral cancer, gum disease, tooth loss, whatever that is, bullshit, I don't care. So, it's my choice, and like my parents say, it's like telling my cat you can't go outside. It's like, we lost our cat a couple of years ago to a coyote, and you know what? You can't take that freedom away from her, so, telling me you can't smoke your cigars and pipes, and making this like a smoke-free property. It's like telling my cat she can't go outside. It's like we lost her cat a couple of years ago to a coyote. It's like you can't take that freedom away from her. It's like she would probably rather be put down than not be allowed to go outside. So, it's like people have a right to make their own decisions. Like if somebody wants to eat bacon, cheeseburgers, mayonnaise, pasta, whatever it is, people have a right to do that. It's like, obviously people should have a right to have good health insurance, people should have a right to, have good health insurance so if something does happen to them, they should have a right to obviously pay for that. So I don't support people who basically are unemployed and basically do nothing with their life. I have a valid reason why I don't have a full-time job, because I have disabilities, I have special needs, but obviously I don't support people who are like high school dropouts who have no insurance. It's like, I've known people like that, and it's really sad. I mean, it's really sad, honestly. And it's like, it's really sad, honestly. It's like, it's really sad, honestly. And I mean, it's like, I don't support people who are sitting around their parents' basement playing World of Warcraft, doing nothing, and just doing nothing with their life and not supporting themselves. I have a valid reason why, because I have disabilities. I have high-functioning autism, Asperger's, bipolar, OCD, all that kind of stuff. So I have the colostomy bag, which goes, so back to marijuana. That's why I really support a person's choice to make their own decisions. That's where I really am a strong advocate of supporting people's choice to make their own decisions, even if those decisions are unhealthy. But back to marijuana. I can see the support burner went off. I can see the support for it because obviously, the big thing about marijuana is it will bring in a lot of tax revenue. It can be used for medicinal purposes, which is already legal. Medical marijuana is already legal in Massachusetts as of 2012. So, people have a right to use it. I supported it. I voted yes on question 4 because I really support a person's choice. I mean, it's the same thing with like drinking. It's the same thing with smoking, whatever. It's like the same thing with any kind of activity. It's like people have a right to make their own choices. It's like, I don't support somebody going out and killing somebody driving drunk, because that's horrible. But I don't want people to, think, it's like, well, I don't have a right to make my own choice. It's like one of the agencies I work with, who is my mentor, basically, my mentoring agency, is, they really support people's choice to make their own decisions. So, yeah, it's really good. It's like, it's kind of sad when you see people who choose to really ruin their life, people who choose to be 350 pounds and eat nothing but cheeseburgers and McDonald's all day long. But it's like, it's kind of sad, but, it's really their choice. It's really their choice. Obviously, somebody who's under 18, under 21, that's a different story, because somebody under 18, under 21, somebody under 18, under 21, it's kind of like, that's a different story because they're a minor. It's like juveniles, minors, absolutely, absolutely not. And that's why I can see why the police are against it, because it's like it's going to fall into the hands of kids. It's like, it's different with kids because I'm not a kid. I hate when people call me a kid. It's the most annoying comment I ever get. So, I'm not a kid for the last time. It's like, I have a choice to make a decision to smoke a cigar because I'm 25 and a half. I have a choice to smoke a cigar. I have a choice to drink a beer because I'm over 21. I have a choice to do whatever. I have a choice to eat a greasy McDonald's cheeseburger because I am over 21. I'm over 18. My parents can't force me to. I mean, they can give me their honest opinions. They can give me their honest opinions. People can say, like, well, it's really not healthy for you to eat all that McDonald's, or that Taco Bell, or like that really greasy cheeseburger at Burger King. It's like, it's really not healthy for you, and it's like, it really could hurt you. I really wish you wouldn't do that. It's like, I really wish you wouldn't smoke. But it's really my choice, because I'm over 18, over 21. So, it's different with people under 18 because they're minors. It's like, minors don't have the ability to consent. It's like, that's why there are laws in place. You have to be 18 to buy tobacco and 21 to buy alcohol. And same thing, it's like, it's not okay for, somebody who's 14 years old to go out and smoke pot or drink or whatever, but it's not right. It's not right because they don't have the mental capability in their mind to make that decision. So it's like, that's the thing is, so people have a right to choose to make their own decisions as long as they're adults. That's why I voted to legalize marijuana, because if you're an adult, you have that choice. 21 years old is perfectly adult. I'm over 21. I would never smoke it myself. I would never smoke it myself because I have no interest in it. I've seen a lot of people ruin their life with it. It's like, but you know what? I think people have a right to ruin their life if they want to. Now, I believe that people have a right to pay back, in taxes, pay back in taxes. I mean, obviously, that's why I don't support people who sit around and do nothing, who have no valid reason. I have a valid reason because I have disabilities. Car going by. It's like, people have a right to make their own decisions, but, I think if you were going to make bad decisions in life, you have to, have valid health insurance, you have to have a valid photo ID, all that kind of stuff, all that kind of shit. So, I mean, it's like, you get the point. I mean, back to marijuana, it's like, now the opposed to it is, the reason the police, here in, where I live, I'm not going to say where I live, I live in Massachusetts, so it's like, I can see why the police are against it, because I knew somebody a while back, who really ruined, the person's life with it. So, I mean, I've seen people who really ruin their life with pot. And a lot of people say it's a gateway drug, whatever, I'm not going to get into that. So, people say it's a gateway drug, people say it leads to harder things, people say it's addictive, people say it's addictive, which I think it is to a certain extent, not physically, but mentally. So, it's like, I think people have a right to make their own decisions with some reason. Obviously, if you want to go out and drive drunk, that's not a decision. You don't have the right to make that decision because that affects other people. If you have a right to, you don't have a right to, hit your girlfriend. You don't have a right to hurt another person. You don't have a right to harm other people or harm yourself. But if you want to do things to a certain degree that are unhealthy, like smoke big-ass cigars and drink Coronas, and you're over 21, whatever, you want to smoke pot, that's really your decision. It's really your decision because at the end of the day, you're an adult. You're not, people can call you a mama's boy, whatever, but it's like, you have a right to make a decision as long as you're over 18. As long as your parents support, or if you're not living with your parents, you have the right to make the decision. So, anyway, what was I going to say? Next thing I was going to say is I can kind of see why people are against legalization of marijuana, because the number one reason the police are against it here in Massachusetts is because it's basically already legal. Now, people may think, people who live in other states like Texas, Oklahoma, like Texas, Oklahoma, different states like Mississippi, well, maybe not Mississippi, really conservative states, where they're locking up people for possession of marijuana. It's not like that in Massachusetts. Massachusetts is probably the most liberal state in the country for marijuana. It's more liberal than California, actually. I don't give legal advice. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. I don't give legal advice. I'm not going to be held liable. I'm not encouraging people to go out and smoke pot because it is bad for you. But I'm not liable if anything happens, so don't sue me. It's like, don't sue me if you're, going to, go out and do it yourself, and I'm not liable if anything happens to you. It's like, take your own risk, do whatever you want, but I'm not going to, car going by, sorry. It's like, I'm not going to, I'm not going to, be held liable if anything happens to you, so, but I do want to say that Massachusetts is probably the most liberal state in the country for marijuana. It's like, and I can see why the police are against it, because I've known people who've really ruined their life with it. who really use marijuana as a crutch. You know, this video's almost 15 minutes, by the way. It's like, people who use marijuana as a crutch. It's like, it's basically a crutch. People just sit around smoking pot. I knew somebody like that a long time ago, a couple of years ago, and, you know, the person really ruined their life with it. So, it's like, and the reason the police are so against it in my state, in Massachusetts, is because it's already basically legal. Now, people may think, like, people who live in different states, like Texas, Oklahoma, you know, out west, or not out west, Midwest, like, you know, more conservative states, more conservative states, you know, people may think, oh, you know, they're probably locking up people for possession of marijuana. I had a comment from this guy, Moist Andy. Moist Andy was a fan of me on YouTube. He's like, if you end up with like face cancer, mouth cancer, would you rather die in like chemo or versus marijuana, and like versus marijuana, even if it meant you being locked up, First of all, it's like Massachusetts is probably the most liberal state in the country for marijuana. It's like it's already, this is why the police are really against it, it's because it's already basically legal. It's like I can give you a list of the things that are legal in Massachusetts for marijuana. It's like medical marijuana is legal. Possession of marijuana, ounce or less, is a $100 fine. Possession of hash or hash oil is a $100 fine. Sharing a joint is a $100 fine. It's like not even a crime. Doesn't even go on your record. Doesn't affect your driver's license. Doesn't affect your college. Doesn't affect anything. Doesn't appear on your record. We have been locking up first offenders for possession of marijuana since 1975. It's like medical marijuana is legal. Excuse me, clear my throat. You can't search your car for the odor of marijuana anymore. It's like people, in order to be convicted of a felony marijuana in Massachusetts, you have to have 50 pounds. It's like, and nobody needs 50 pounds of pot. So, and it's like, that's the thing is like, the reason the police are so against it in like places in like Massachusetts, is because, car going by 1 sec. 1 sec, big ass cigar. 1 sec. It's like, the reason why the police are so against it, just a UPS truck going by, is because it's basically already legal. It's like, we're not locking up people. It's like, in Massachusetts, whatever you want to call it, whatever the hell you want to call it, it's like, the reason the police are so against it is because it's basically already legal. It's like, I'm for it. It's like, it's your choice. If you're an adult, same thing as eating a McDonald's greasy cheeseburger, or smoking a big-ass cigar, or drinking a beer, as long as you're 18, 21, or older. It's your choice. But it's like, at a certain point, it's kind of like, what I'm trying to say is, it's kind of like, I can see why people are against it. I can see why people are voting no in question 4. This video's almost 20 minutes long, by the way. It's already basically legal. It's like, you can't go to jail anymore for possession of marijuana. It doesn't matter who, now, I'm not I am not encouraging people to go out and smoke pot. Make that very clear. It's like, I'm not encouraging people to go out and smoke pot. It's like, but it's already basically legal. It's like, it's already basically legal. It's like, you can't go to jail anymore for possession of marijuana. We're not locking up people. It's like, it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. I'm not liable if anything happens to you. But it's like, it's already basically legal. Car going by 1 sec. It's like, it's already basically legal. It's kind of like, that's why the police are against it, is because police are against it, a lot of state officials are against it, Attorney General's office is probably against it. It's like, it's basically already legal. It's kind of like, I can see why people are against it. And like, people have, like, I knew somebody who really ruined their life with it. So, I knew somebody who really ruined their life with it. It's like, some people can smoke in moderation, but it's really habit forming. A lot of people like become like a pothead. They sit around like smoking pot all day long. Yes, it has medical purposes. Absolutely yes. Absolutely yes. Big ass cigar for life. Absolutely has medical purposes. It's a wonderful thing for cancer patients, glaucoma patients, or sarcoma patients, whatever. It's like, but it's a wonderful thing for people with MS, whatever, and intestinal disorders. It's also a lot less harmful than tobacco and alcohol, obviously. It's like, the way it's grown is different. It's not treated with the same kind of pesticides. It's like, absolutely, it's less harmful. That's why it should be legal. But, I can see why people are against it. Because I can see both sides. You can see both sides of the coin. So, it's because I've known some people who have really ruined their life with it. It's like I've known some people who have either gone onto harder drugs, gone on harder drugs like cocaine, heroin, meth, whatever, crack, acid. Um, it's like, but I've seen people really ruin their life with it. 20 minutes long, by the way. We're gonna cut this video off in about 5 minutes. Is because people have really ruined their life with it. It's like, I can see both sides of the sword because I can see both sides of the coin because I know some people who have really, really ruined their life with pot. I see some people who have really ruined their life with pot. It's kind of like, I've seen people really ruin their life and really become kind of like a pothead, just sit around and like kind of like Joey Les Dippin was saying in this video, Joey Les Dippin, if you watch him, who dips, used to smoke cigars, he's like, but people who don't say pot is addictive bullshit. I used to get so addicted to it. It's like, when he used to smoke pot. It's like, I have nothing against it. It's like, he lives in Massachusetts also, so I'm sure he won't mind if I give him a shout out. So, Joey Les Dippin, it's like, but it's like, it's already basically legal. And that's why the police are so against it, is because it's already so close to being legal. It's like you can't go to jail anymore. It's like even if you get caught selling it, it's usually a year probation. That's it. I'm not encouraging people to go out and smoke it. It's bad, whatever. But it's bad. It's bad. Okay. So that's what Mr. Mackey said in South Park. So yeah, I'm just being silly and being a doofus. So it's like, I can see both sides of the coin. It's like, yes, it should be legal, but there's nothing wrong with it because it's no worse than tobacco or alcohol. But it's like, I've known a lot of people who've really ruined their life with it. It's like people who've gone into harder drugs, people who have really just sit around smoking pot all day long, doing nothing with their life, just sitting on their ass all day, like the big ass cigar, and people who have just, also make you gain a lot of weight because it makes you hungry using the munchies. So, using the munchies, it's like, you don't want to gain a ton of weight because, it's really sad when you see somebody who is 350 pounds and has a lot of trouble going around. They have a lot of trouble going to the bathroom, they have, like, a lot of trouble in the bathroom, it's, like, kind of sad for people like that. So, I can kind of see why people are against it. I can see why people are kind of against it. Because people in Massachusetts, it's basically already legal. And that's why the police are very against it, and that's why state officials are very against it, because it's basically already legal. Anyway, comment, subscribe. That's my opinions on marijuana. I think it should be legalized personally. I have nothing against it. But honestly, I'm not encouraging people to do it. Don't get the wrong impression, especially if you're under 18. Especially if you're under 18, don't get the wrong impression. I'm encouraging people to do it. Because I'm a 25-and-a-half-year-old adult. I'm almost 26 years old, so do not get the wrong impression. Do not get the wrong impression that I'm encouraging people to go out and smoke pot, because I'm not. Because it does have a lot of bad side effects. So, it's safer than alcohol and tobacco, but you know what? I'm not encouraging people to go out and smoke it. Anyway, comment, like, subscribe, and keep some of those nice big-ass cigars for life. Legal big-ass cigars for life. Bye. That's my opinions on marijuana. Anyway, bye. It should be legalized. Anyway, bye.